Previously on Calibrate the World. God, I actually hate people. Oh my, it's bound to be overcrowded. Why are they even here? I was tired. I was socially exhausted. Yeah, much more like it. Yeah, that just creeps the out of me. But you want to know what also creeps the out of me? Is people that don't go to Osaka for their Japan trip. A grittier but more friendlier city, and namely Japan's kitchen. But why is Osaka so important? If you're planning to visit Japan for maybe 2 weeks, I would honestly recommend starting your journey from here. You're more likely to assimilate into society if you start here, because believe it or not, Japan's actually a bit of a culture shock. And you have more travel options from here. I was here for 5 days, but you might be here for shorter. So I'll show you some of the things that I did that you may want to dedicate your time to, like Osaka Castle, TeamLab, shopping in Umeda, Americamura, just to name a few places. So here's the best way to get the most out of Osaka for 2025. Let's begin. So if you're struggling to find a place to stay in Osaka, I thoroughly recommend Temmabashi. It's convenient for the metro, as well as some nice eateries, shops and attractions. Most hotels in this area are not bad, and mine was especially cozy. But round the back is a park that you should probably check out, because it's Osaka Castle. Otherwise known locally as Osaka-jo, the site of the castle has been here since the 1500s, but has either been destroyed or rebuilt during changes of power. But the original form had survived the Second World War. The moats on the walls are absolutely stunning and extraordinary to look at, especially on a warm sunny day. Tourists. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are cherry trees all over the park, so be sure to visit during cherry blossom season, which is coming up in a month from this video being released. But you didn't just come to see the castle, right? Like, there's a bit round the back that has a really cute little shrine and what appears to have been like a garden meeting area. I just quite liked how overgrown it was. But really, you get this view of the city, which is my personal favourite. So don't waste your time in the main grounds, go round the back because you will find this view. Now I have to say it, but if you're into tourist tat, yes, we are in Japan, they have an extraordinary gift shop with very, very tasteful fridge magnets, tatty as So once you're done checking out all the samurai swords, make your way to the metro because you're probably either going to go to Dotonbori or Umeda next. But just to let you know, Japan's metro systems in Osaka and Tokyo are really well connected, but Osaka's metro system is slightly confusing, as some stations have the same name based on the ward that you're in. Like Umeda has more than one station named after it, and Tanamachi has about 3 stations which are numbered as such. Another thing to bear in mind is the best way to get around Japan in general is not a Suica card. I found these notoriously hard to find / get, and Passmo cards seem to just be available to those actually living in Japan. But I did find that the Icoca card is readily available here, but I would recommend getting it from a ticket machine in a main train station like Osaka or Umeda. This is your lifeline for transport in Japan. You're welcome. So Umeda is the modern city centre in Osaka. It's also where you're likely to do some shopping, like in Don Quixote, Daiso, luxury department stores, Pokemon centres, and, wait for it, Nintendo. The Nintendo store is a must, and if you don't believe the hype, they have a gacha machine which makes these noises. Also, if you don't know what a gacha is, they're like little toys. I know they're not, but just bear with me, I have a generalist audience. But they're really quite quirky. In this case, I got a SNES control pad. I don't really care if you didn't play Nintendo games as a child, but you must go to a Nintendo store just for the nostalgia kick, and waste your hard-earned cash. Why are people into One Piece? I really don't get it. Also, just a disclaimer, I actually read manga, but One Piece has never appealed to me whatsoever. Anyway, another place to get your shopping fix is by jumping back in the metro towards Shinsaibashi. I had to say that really slowly, I'm so sorry. Which has a lot of upmarket brands, especially Japanese ones. Shopping in Japan's become a little bit more accessible recently because of a downturn in the yen at the moment. Which is a shame, but at the same time, if you are travelling to Japan, why not take advantage of that? Nearby Shinsaibashi is one of the most weirdly unique districts in Osaka. Osaka, and that is Americamura, literally America Town. It's a cool place for thrift stores, coffee shops, and stuff like that. It's a little bit similar to Harajuku in Tokyo, except it's a little bit grittier at night. And for some reason, because Americamura, America Town, it has a Statue of Liberty in it. It's so American. But this district is also the main stop for Osaka's Dotonbori district, which literally has two moods both day and night. During the day, things are a bit calmer, more open, and you're more likely to get a chance to take photos of the Glico Man without interruption. But shall we turn the lights on? See, now it's more lively, louder, and peoply at night. It reminds me of Shinjuku with the lights and the street signs from down some of the streets. But one of the things about Dotonbori, in spite of it being super busy at night, it has charm, and people aren't as aggressive or brash compared to Tokyo. So I really kind of don't mind the busyness, believe it or not. Now, I was working particularly late one evening and decided to check out Dotonbori after 11 o'clock at night, as I was told that it was Japan's nightlife capital. Well, I was lied to. It was dead, and you could still get photos with the Glico Man. That's a kind of hack there, by the way. But I was after some midnight takoyaki, and this just wasn't the case. If anything, there were young peeps wandering about, perhaps going to parties and clubs. Maybe this is when it's most active, and everybody seemed to be younger than me and Gen Z, so maybe Osaka's kind of like that. I'm also a millennial, but I just really wanted takoyaki. Also, the gritty nature of Osaka came out at this time, so it's slightly more intimidating. To me, I wasn't discouraged. That's the character of Osaka. Just enjoy it. But Dotonbori is famous for another thing, as well as Osaka in general, and that is indeed tasty, quick, a good value. Osaka is, after all, Japan's kitchen. In and around Osaka, you'll find food stalls and restaurants selling unique Japanese foods that were either invented or perfected in Osaka, except Kobe beef. You can go there for that. But what's interesting and helpful is that if you're after something specific, the stall will likely have a graphic, or in most cases, a physically sculpted sign of the product that they sell, i.e. this place might sell seafood or takoyaki because there's an octopus on it. This place will sell crab and, uniquely, fugu or pufferfish. I mentioned takoyaki. It was invented here in Osaka and it's very popular. The process is extremely unique, as it's batter that begins as a mess before it becomes a deep-fried ball with various fillings and octopus. Most people are likely to go to Wakana in Dotonbori, but it's quite expensive and the lines are always long. But if you go directly opposite it, there's a smaller place that's been there longer than Wakana, which sells it for the fraction of the price, and is equally as delicious. So I thought anyway. But word of warning, these cigs are extremely hot and feel as if they've been cooked in a nuclear reactor, so do allow at least 10 minutes with this thing to cool to a reasonable temperature. And when I mean reasonable temperature, I mean piping hot, not Dante's Inferno. But my personal favourite, and the reason I love Japan so much, is ramen. In Temabashi, nearby Osaka Castle, there's this ramen joint called Mankai, which serves my favourite ramen, tonkotsu. But I do have a personal admission to make, and I will be shouted at here by Japanese residents, and say that Ichiran, which has become a bit of an international claim to fame in Japan, is pretty decent, and I never turn my nose at it any time I come to Japan. Loads of people hate this place purely because it's a substandard bowl of ramen that can be customised, which is sacrilege apparently, and it's all chicken-based ramen. But to that I say, well, okay. But if you're visiting Japan for the first time and you want to avoid the social embarrassment of accidentally slipping up on your Japanese customs and etiquette and not to be judged for it, Ichiran is a popular option. Although I do think 980 yen for a bowl of ramen of this kind is a bit steep. But it is definitely worth it for your first time. So yeah, cut them some slack. Now, on a previous episode of Cowboy at the World, I had this to say on convenience stores.
Yeah, if you want a nostalgia kick, you're not going to get it here. The doorbell is different, there's hardly anything from Japan, there's no local ramen noodles, there's no fried...
Well, let's fix that, shall we? I'm not sorry, but I love a konbini, literally being a convenience store. There's so many things and oddities that you can pick up in them. Sometimes as far as fashionable socks, I actually have 2 pairs of these, but konbinis can serve as a really good option for a do-it-yourself dinner. Most visitors to Japan will do this if they don't fancy going out for food, and also maybe because they've had a big lunch. It's also relatively affordable, and they offer equipment to heat, boil and cook your meals. There are loads of brands out there, but the big 3 are Family Mart, 7-Eleven and Lawson. They weirdly share the same colours as the starter Pokemon. Has anybody ever noticed this before? Is it just me? That's really funny. But some of these konbinis are known for having better types of certain types of food. For example, I'm FamilyMart loyal, so Famichiki is my go-to, well, limited to for the entire trip. And Lawson, in my opinion, and Anthony Bourdain's, wins the egg sando debate. Come fight me. But there's also other fast food choices, which aren't just Japanese McDonald's. Things like Koko Ichiban for a really good curry. If you want a good katsudon, go get it from Matsuya or Yoshinoya. Speaking of viral foods though, if you want novelty, Japan has it all, especially with Kit Kats. You'll find the strangest flavours in Don Quixote, and that's all I have to say about that. Right, before we can even get to this stage, let's come back to the most confusing train station in all of existence. No, it's not Shinjuku, it's bloody Umeda Station. Trying to find this platform was a total nightmare, but we got there eventually. So we're going to go outside of Osaka northwards, to a place called Ikeda. This is a quaint and quiet little town that has this totally unassuming building, until you see this wee guy on the drain lids. So this is the OG place where Nissan and cup noodles were invented. Now, whether you use noodles or pot noodles if you're British to fuel yourself through crises, university and general hunger satisfaction, this is the reason why it exists, and they take it very seriously. I mean, they're super proud to have eaten noodles in space, damn it! And if you're a graphic designer, you're gonna love this wall of packaging from the very start all the way to what is available on the market today. You can even get these in FamilyMart, fun fact. But this seems a bit small for a museum for such a large industry, right? Fear not. For just 500 yen, you can make your own. Do you really think we'd be in Japan if we couldn't do this? At the spending machine, insert your 500 yen and literally pick any as it drops out at the bottom. And all you have to do is go get it. Yep, that's right, Cal, just drop into that. Yeah, awkwardly. Yeah, you had to skip that because you really made an arse of that, didn't you? Now, like the adult child that I am, you're asked to then sit down and then customise the outside of your cup noodle. Now, I was going with something and then I messed it up and, was kind of like, can't really do this again, so yeah, we're just going to have to go with it. Then you're taken to this very peoply queue to get it topped up with your favourite toppings and flavours. It's really quite cute and fun, and then you get this really sick bag to put it in. This is awesome. I love Japan. There is another workshop where you can hand make the noodles, but I think the earlier activity was probably enough. I think you need to have a specific interest in graphic design or indeed love noodles, which I'm both, to make your way out of Osaka to come and visit this place. It's not exactly local in Osaka, but it is quite cool and it is a really nice day out, so I do recommend it. So if your time in Osaka is coming to an end, or indeed you're based here either working or visiting friends or family, you'll probably want to look for places where you can spend the day. This is going to take us back to the title of the video, why you're doing Japan wrong. So let me explain. Osaka is in the Kansai region, which has Kobe to the west, and then it has Nara to the east where the Bougainvillea is, and then it has Kyoto to the northeast. Now if we expand the map, we can now see that Osaka sits here in this area, and then Tokyo is all the way over here. So let me put this into context for you. Osaka takes 13 minutes on the bullet train to get to Kyoto. Compare that to Tokyo, which takes 3 hours on the bullet train. Now with that being said, why not visit Kyoto for the day? Kyoto is such a rewarding place to visit as most of its architecture and culture has been preserved and it's an authentic view of Japan as a whole. I was at Tofukuji Temple, Arashiyama Bamboo Forest and Gion, as well as some odd hidden gems along the way. Definitely recommend either Kyoto or indeed other places within Kansai before making a move towards other parts of Japan. One of the things Japan is excellent for is being beautifully picturesque at night. The aesthetic cyberpunk vibes are on point in Japan. But you know what's even better? We are at yet another TeamLab exhibition, but it's been one that I've been super keen on visiting for ages. This is TeamLab's first outdoor permanent exhibition, which is at Osaka Botanical Gardens. It's not a massive expo, but it does have interactive elements where these pod things can change colour as you interact with it. But it has the regular favourites too. What added to this experience was the fact that it was in a park. And of course, it being in Japan, everything is aesthetically and carefully manicured to look the part. This was one of the most dynamic and interesting experiences I've had at a TeamLab exhibition. It's comparatively cheaper compared to other examples like Borderless, and you have more of a chance of getting a ticket since it's in a park and it's not a small compact exhibition hall. If you're stuck on what to do in Osaka and you want an arts installation activity, you can't go wrong with this. So our visit to Osaka comes to an end, and marking my second stay in Japan. I hope that this video has made you think twice about starting your trip here rather than Tokyo. If it has, great. If not, good luck. Osaka was such a pleasant experience, and it surprised me in a lot of ways. If you do want to see more experiences and my thoughts and tips on how to travel better, do like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support matters. And also, if you haven't already, do follow us on Instagram and TikTok where I post stories on my travels. Thanks again for watching everybody, and I will see you somewhere new.